have a very, very special guest for you today. Not only is Charlie the founder and lead trainer of Growth Dynamics, but he's someone I've grown a very, very good relationship with over the past 2 years. So without further ado, Charlie, how are you?
Matt, I'm happy to be here. I'm honored to be first. And you're right, we have developed quite a relationship over the last couple of years. I hope it's been as beneficial to you as it has been to me. So thank you for your youthful enthusiasm, your youthful commitment and energy. And I shared this with Gabe in a training class that he's in with us. You bring a lot of professionalism at a young age, and it's a pleasure to work with you.
No, I appreciate the kind words. There's a reason I wanted Charlie to be the first guest on the podcast. And it really is just that. I mean, he's someone I've grown, a great relationship with. He's now like one of my favorite mentors. And when I thought of guest, you were the first person that came to my mind. So
thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. So let's go. Let's make the first one
All
memorable.
right. Let's do it. How does it feel to be the first guest?
I could really take that question a lot of different ways, but I'll keep it adult while we're here. Look, you and I are 65 years or 45 years apart. 65, I'm not quite there.
Yeah.
We're 45 years apart. And one of the things I like best about what I do for a living is watching young people get into the business and do it with not just, as I mentioned, the youthful enthusiasm and that sense of excitement about doing something, but I really enjoyed working with you because you're not just doing your job, you're growing as an individual, as a professional. And if I can contribute to that and being part of this first episode, that's really important to me. My life motto is you get what you give. And so any chance I get to give back to someone or to invest in someone, I find it always comes back. And so it may seem like I'm a very generous human being, and I like to think I am. But I will admit there is a little bit of selfishness to it because when you put good stuff up in the air, that becomes an antenna to more good stuff that finds you. So when you asked, it was an easy agreement that I could make, and I'm excited to be here and be part of this.
All right. Yeah, I appreciate it. So the first question I had for you is, who is Charlie Hauck? Like, can you tell me about yourself, the business, outside of business?
Yeah. I grew up here. This is home for me. Westchester's been my home since I was 3 years old. So basically we moved into Westchester in 1958, 59. I've lived here all my life. I did go away for college for a couple years, but I've lived here forever. I've worked here forever. I've raised my family here. My daughters are raising their families here. So I'm someone that's been here in the community for a long time. I have the opportunity to travel all around the country and around the world for business, but I have to admit I'm someone that's passionate about what a lifestyle you can live and work when you operate out of Westchester as your base. So I'm a business owner that's happy to be here. I do work nationally, but I do work with a lot of people locally. I love to give back to the community. But my business is Growth Dynamics. We're a business development consulting and executive performance coaching business. And we work with all kinds of small businesses. I tell people we're agnostic or non-denominational. We don't focus on a particular industry. We're not experts at bankers or manufacturers reps or contractors. We work with anybody that's got to be more efficient and more effective at collecting decisions from an individual to grow their business. We're also very focused on the most effective ways to communicate, to cut the unnecessary BS or fluff out of conversations so that two people that want to get to an outcome can do it with the least amount of aggravation, frustration, mystification, do it better than they've ever done it before. So I learned from being a client of someone that does what I do. I worked with that person for 8 years, loved the business, had an opportunity to go and consult to a Big Five consulting firm. So I spent a couple years doing work with people at Ernst & Young. But then when the opportunity to come back and re-anchor myself here in the community and the Westchester business world, I jumped at that. And so that's who I am and how I got here.
So what is it about Westchester specifically that you find, so great and you wanted to stay here?
Well, if you look outside the window today, it's early November. It's a crisp, cool air outside. The blue in the sky. I was walking the dog this morning and found myself stopping to take pictures of beautiful fall colors against that azure blue sky as deep as you could see. So environmentally, it's just a beautiful place to live. I love 4 seasons, and we have all 4 here. But I also like the business community here that's a really great blend of professionals. So we're the county seat in Chester County, PA. There's a lot of attorneys. There are a lot of people that support the attorney network and the government network. We're outside of Philadelphia, so there's a lot of good entrepreneurial stuff going on here in Westchester. I think Chester County was just named one of the best counties in the U.S. to live in or to start a business in. And so I love being part of that. I just think it is one of the greatest hometowns that you could ever want to have. And I've been to different places. I've spent a lot of time in Texas and California and the Midwest and New England and down in Florida. And I have great experiences in all those places. Livability, 4 seasons a year. There's no place better than Westchester.
Awesome. And a little backstory on Charlie, I know, is you played college lacrosse,
Yes.
correct?
Yep.
And what school was that again?
North Carolina State.
North Carolina State. So
Yes.
that was awesome. So going to college in North Carolina State, being a little bit in different areas. Can you talk about that journey? So like fresh out of college, what did Charlie Hauck want to do?
Boy, so that's a curveball question. And look, I teach people to swing and hit curveballs, so I'll take my best shot here. It really kind of goes back to high school and being here in Westchester. My senior year, class of 73 at Henderson High School, I was co-captain of the boys lacrosse team. We were fortunate enough to have a bunch of seniors on that team. Great friends of mine. In fact, we just had our 50th reunion. There's a bunch of people that were on that team that I'm still very close to, but we were so close, we became an inevitable force, an indomitable force, and we won the state championship for boys lacrosse in 1973. Well, in that process, I started looking at schools. I had gotten a lot of recruitment letters and things, but my family owned a second home in the Outer Banks of North Carolina. So I thought I could go somewhere down south, somewhere in North Carolina, get in-state tuition. North Carolina State was going from club to varsity status. So I was actually the first varsity lacrosse scholarship that they ever gave, which sounds like a great story until I tell you I blew my knee out first game freshman year. And that's not an excuse. It just became an opportunity that I took to not be as disciplined about my college career as I should have been. So I went to school for a year and a half. I played a total of about 37 minutes on the team at North Carolina State because of the injury. But I ended up coming back after a year and a half, and I got involved in the construction business. So what I really wanted to do, why I really went to NC State, frankly, was a flaw of my youthful enthusiasm and at times my unrealistic expectations of what it would take to get where I wanted to go and to do what I wanted to do. I've always been a pretty good communicator, so I thought I'd do something in government or politics. That obviously didn't turn into my reality at that point. So I came back, I worked with some people that I knew, I got involved in the construction trades. And before I knew it, I had a roofing contracting business here in Westchester. That lasted for about 7 or 8 years. And then in an example that probably way too many people can relate to, but you don't know it as you're going through it. I didn't know what I didn't know about running a business. And the experience has turned out to be something that I cherish. But as I was going through it, it was miserable because it led to an inevitable failure. It was, I didn't know the disciplines. I didn't know the structures. I didn't know the reality of what it really took to run a business. We were good roofers. We weren't good business people. And I didn't understand how to manage people at that point. So we just didn't know how to get out of trouble when we found ourselves in trouble. So that's really what my career was. It wasn't what I thought I was going to be when I went away to college, but life is full of, one door opens, you don't want to go through that one, you open another door, and there you are. And I opened enough doors, ended up with a business, ended up with, before I knew it, basically 50 employees. And it was bigger than I was. And I didn't know how to cope with it. And so it's not my favorite chapter, but the lessons that I learned going through that experience, I cherish them.
Could you actually talk about those lessons? Like, what do you think you learned then that helped you get to where you are today?
Yeah. Oddly enough, I'm the son of a salesperson. My father was very successful in sales. And so I was someone that at a very early age, when I was a Cub Scout, selling calendars door to door for the holidays. Oh, you're a natural born salesperson. And on one hand, that was great because it gave me some confidence that I could go out and have and do a sales call at 12 years old. And I sold a bunch of calendars. I sold my quota every year. But as I got older, I thought that being successful in business development was sort of baked in. It wasn't a skill that you developed. It was just you either have it or you don't. And because I was told I was a natural, I never thought about what I wasn't doing well. And so the first lesson that I really got out of that roofing experience is there's a lot more to it than just showing up and being polite and trying to get people excited about doing business with me. So I didn't understand that until I realized I didn't understand it, which sounds like a lot of mumbo jumbo. I also learned that it's okay to walk away. I thought every contractor that said, hey, would you come give us a price on doing roofing for us? I thought every single one of those people I should close the deal and get the contract. And there's probably nothing bigger than that. There's a lot of bad business out there. And maybe they were nice people, but they weren't necessarily good or in some cases ethical business people. But because they were interested in doing business with me, I never wanted to think of those things. So I learned the hard way that you should disqualify more than you should qualify. And that's a lesson that I think all young business people need to hear and to have someone support them in that practice as much as anything. We're excited. We're new business people. We want to develop a following, but there's a lot of bad people that can take advantage of your youthful inexperience and overwhelming need to be liked in order to be successful. I sucked at those things for a long time, and it cost me tremendously. I also learned that I had a partner in the business, and his style and my style were very different. And I know that until I learned certain things about human behavior, behavioral styles, I just thought he was wrong about a lot of things. And I'm pretty darn sure he thought I was wrong about a lot of things. Once I learned about people and what makes different, just different, not wrong or worse, I started to understand how to be more effective in working with all kinds of people in all kinds of circumstances. Those are things that at 68 years old, been in the consulting business for 35, 36 years. I see myself in other people's businesses all the time. And I see the same mistakes. And some people are ready to address it, and some people aren't. And I know I wasn't for a long time. So it's that experience has brought me great value when I'm coaching people now, because it's not just a theoretical idea. I lived it. And there are some scars that are deep from that experience.
Yeah, that's very valuable. Very valuable. That makes me think of something we talk about in sales training, which if you haven't yet, I highly recommend you check out with Charlie. He does a great job. I knew absolutely nothing about sales when I started with these guys, but it was one of the best programs I've ever done. So I would definitely check that out. But a big takeaway I had from training was DISC profiling and understanding people. Talk about that, because that is something that blew my mind. Yeah. And I've had, tremendous value from knowing that.
No one buys for anyone's reasons but their own. And yet, when we have a tendency to believe that if I'm successful doing it my way, the way my behavioral style says I should do it, well, Matt, if you would just learn to look at things and do things the way I do, it'd be easier for you to be successful too. And as awesome as that would be if it were true, it's just an impossibility. There are a lot of different ways to get around the mountain or to the top of the mountain. I have my way: direct, immediate, run over what's ever in front of you. And in some cases, that's helped me tremendously. And then there's times where my style, my direct, my no details, just bottom line, get it done. I should have been more like my wife, for example, who's more deliberate and more thoughtful and resistant to change. I should have been able to understand the value of that difference. And I didn't for the longest time. I just thought those people weren't as tough or as strong or as committed. But really, everybody brings something valuable to the experience. And I wasn't ready to hear that for a long time. So in the course of getting into this business, I was exposed to DISC training, behavioral style understanding. If I were king of the world, we'd stand up at the corner of Gay Street and High Street and DISC profile everybody, so that everybody would have that gift and we would all understand different isn't wrong. I think the world would be a better place, but we don't have that power. So anywhere and anyhow I can, I use that stuff. And if you're in a business or in a competitive circumstance and this company has a great product and this company has a great product, and the price is about the same and the performance is about the same, and all the technical stuff matches up, well, who will someone choose to buy from?
It's the person they like.
The person they trust the most. And who do they trust the most? The people that are most like them. So if we can learn how to accommodate someone's personal preferences, it's not selling your soul or being phony. It's making someone more comfortable so that they're willing to share more information with you, so you can provide a better opportunity to give them what they believe in. So you're right. DISC profile, it's a secret sauce. And people that, one of my least favorite lines, and I know I probably used it, it's just the way I am. Frankly, that's an excuse. It's a lack of responsibility, and it's disrespectful. Well, if you're just the way you are and we have to tolerate that, why don't we have to tolerate the other person just being the way they are? And so I love, I fly a lot. I go through airports. I deal with ticket agents and other people, and some people are stressed out by travel. Because I have the training and I practice it so deliberately, understanding DISC has been a rescue tool for me so often. Anybody and everybody should figure out how to be better at understanding others.
Yeah, no, I fully agree. A big takeaway I've had from disc isn't even just in a business side, but on a personal side,
Yeah.
where I'll be meeting new people for the first time. It could be anywhere, like like a pickup basketball game, and I'll just immediately start to try to figure out, like what their personality is.
Yeah.
It's crazy once you know it. It's something you don't forget.
Look, I'll be celebrating my 44th, my 44th wedding anniversary in about 7 weeks. And it's been a great 44 years. Sort of the stuff that my wife put up with, if I had understood how uncomfortable my natural style would make her, she'd probably be a happier person today. So I'll take the responsibility for the change. She's always seems to be accommodating to me. So I'll say if I had changed, she'd probably have, the road might not have been as bumpy, although it's been a pretty good ride.
Right. And you're someone who is very high D on the disc scale.
Yeah, I'm dominant.
Can you talk about that? And, kind of the benefits and, the negatives that come along with being very high and dominant.
Yeah, I tend to operate in a ready, fire, aim mentality. If I see something I want, I can be very impulsive. If I see a job that needs to be done, I can be impatient. I'm not one that reads directions all the time. If I can get it built without opening up that piece of paper in the IKEA box, why not? You wasted your time reading. I spent my time putting it together. And I have enough mechanical sense that I haven't blown myself up yet too badly doing that. But I'm results oriented. I like things happening now. I like if somebody says, do you want to do something? I like a yes or no pretty quickly. That's not comfortable for a lot of people. So my gift is urgency, goal-driven, impatient execution. I don't hesitate on decisions. I always believe if I get off course, I'm skilled enough to get back on course, and I'll still finish before you will. But the downside of it is there are a lot more people out there that don't operate that way. We tend to think most people see the gift. A lot of people are ticked off about the way I work. So I had to learn to admit that, and I had to learn to accommodate people that like to be more diplomatic or they're not prone to change. I like new and different and better. My wife likes the way doing things the way we've always done them. It's comfortable, it's reliable, it's predictably successful to her. Well, I could change family traditions in a heartbeat because it's new and different and better. And so my gift, there's a rule. Whatever you're most gifted at, it will always cause you the most problems. And I'm verifiably the truth of that, as we all are. Knowing what your gifts are and knowing what challenges it creates. Look, there's a lot of things I think we ought to teach in education. I'd put that right near the top of the list.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, that's huge.
Yeah. Well, look, like I said, you're 45 years younger than I am.
Yep.
And you found it to be as true to you at 23 as I'm talking about it being at 68. So young people can get it. Young people can understand it. And so the sooner we can teach people to be more efficient, more effective, more accommodating and accepting of others, different people, I think the whole world would be better.
Yeah, I agree. And kind of going off that, like you mentioned, there's a big age gap between us.
Yeah.
You've been around in business way longer than I have. What would you say is, either like a number one or just a huge piece of advice you would give to somebody who's not that far into their career?
Oh, boy, there's a long list of things I could pick for that one. That's a really good question. I think I'm stuck between two things here. I think having a goal, and a SMART goal. Everyone knows the acronym for a SMART goal: specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time bound. I would say having a SMART goal for your business before you open the doors is critical. And along those lines, it is having the attitude that you don't have any of the answers, and that there are tons of people like me that made all the mistakes you don't need to make. And allowing your ego to say, you know what, go get some advice. Don't think you figured it all out at 23 years old or 33 years old. Don't think you have to pay the price of experience that thousands of other people have. So my first thing of advice is go talk to someone who's done it and find out not just why it worked, but why it didn't work. Because we have all had things that haven't worked. And the greatest lessons I've learned have come from my mistakes. So ask someone, what's the greatest mistake you've made that's become the best learning lesson? I would tell anybody to do that. The second thing I do is tell somebody, I know you want to be technically great, and that's awesome, but you better be business smart. If you don't understand that owning a business isn't about your technology or your service delivery, it is about what it takes to run a profitable business. And I work with people all around the country in all different kinds of businesses, and I am shocked, and I mean shocked, at the people that are running businesses that have no idea how to run their business.
Kind of going off that, that was great advice in a business sense. What would you say personally? Anybody could use advice in this realm, but given that you mentioned you've been with your wife, you're about to celebrate 44 years. You had a major high school reunion.
Yeah.
What's a piece of advice you would give someone?
Boy, there's probably so many people that have just this answer that pops out of their heads. I'm not that person today. I really think that the thing that I think everybody should understand is you're always better than you believe you are. We develop, and I'm not a big fan of the word comfort zone. I just think it's been overused, and I don't think it has much conversational value. But we all get to a level of competence and confidence that we feel is kind of as good as it can get right now at whatever moment you're in. But we are all better than we realize, because as soon as we sort of maximize performance, we think, I figured it out. I can't get any better than this, or I can't get any smarter than that, or I can't learn to take better pictures or create better media. There's always growth. Sometimes it's only 1% growth today, but tomorrow might be 15% growth. And so the thing I would tell everyone, and I kind of do this, I sabotage my grandkids with this. Sabotage isn't the right verb, but I constantly, whenever I get a chance, I lean down and whisper in their ears, "You're awesome." Not "you're awesome at soccer or school or baseball or cello." It's just "you're awesome," or "you're amazing," or "you are special." Because there are moments in our lives where we need to have heard that. And I want my grandkids to believe that they are all of those words, not because they did something, but just because they are something. And they're amazing little creatures, and so pliable and shapeable. I think they all do a pretty good job of believing they are special, awesome, tremendous, wonderful. And the more we're willing to take the time and tell them that, they're going to have that in their brain somewhere and in their core. And they're going to need to be tougher than they thought they could be, but they're going to do it.
Yeah, that is amazing advice. Kind of switching gears a
Yeah.
little bit back to the business side.
Uh-huh.
What's in the plans for Growth Dynamics
Oh,
going forward?
yeah. That's another curveball today. Look, I love what I do. I've had 35 years of pretty much work that's never felt like work. We all have a unique ability. And when we can find that unique ability, we should grab it and make the most out of it. And I'm lucky enough to have figured out that this was my unique ability to coach, to consult, to advise, to challenge people, and to do it in the front of the room or one-on-one. I'm good at it. I don't mind saying it. I don't think it's disingenuous or braggadocious to say I'm good at it. I've either fooled a lot of people or I'm good. I'm good. But, at 68, I want to land the plane not too far in the distant future. And I don't know when I'll get out of the business. I do know I am going to get out of the business. I do know I'm going to turn over ownership at some point in the fairly close future. But what I do, I talk to people for a living. And I don't think there'll ever be a point in my life where there isn't some value that I could deliver to someone by talking to them and sharing the things that I've shared with you or with Gabe or with all the thousands of people I've had in front of me. So Growth Dynamics, as it sits now, my daughter Sarah she's my partner now, and we're kind of in the middle of trying to figure out what that transition actually looks like. I'm fortunate enough that there's another person that I've trained for the last 20 years that's put his hand up and said, hey, what if I want to be in that game? And so we're pushing those playing pieces around on the table a little bit. I don't know. So that's not much of a plan, but that's as close as I can get today.
Yeah, that's great. And we'll actually be having Sarah on at some point as well. So it'll be awesome to hear her story, her perspective on the whole situation as well.
Yeah. And that's one of my favorite things that I've accomplished in my life is to have a daughter and the opportunity to work with her. And to have her be as invested in the success of the business as a partner. So, that's really special.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Well, this has been great. I want to take a second here to just plug all of your website, your social media.
Yeah.
Is there any specific links, any big news coming you'd like to tell the local community?
Well, we have a local public forum. So we train people from a bunch of different companies, one setting out at Westchester University Grad Center. So we are always enrolling people in that. Anybody that looks to be more efficient, more effective, they want to feel more in control, particularly in the business development arena that they work in or as a business owner, we always have those enrollments open. We also have a program doing the same thing, public forum up in Woodcliff Lakes, New Jersey. And so we happen to have a bunch of people up there that have become believers. The Kool-Aid's working in more than one location. So Growth Dynamics is doing that. We do a lot of business with in-house clients. So we've got business going on around the country with different people, from 10-person companies to multi-billion-dollar international companies where we're training 50, 60 people at a time. So we're doing that. I'm available, Charlie Hauck, on LinkedIn. There's a Growth Dynamics page on LinkedIn, but I think you've got to go to Growth Dynamics Online. I think that's what it is, because there is another entity that might have grabbed some words before we did. We've got YouTube. What is it on YouTube? I don't even know.
It's Growth Dynamics on YouTube. Charlie does an awesome series every Friday.
Yeah.
Fast Tip Friday. They're super valuable. I'll put the links in the description for this podcast. So definitely check it out.
Yeah. And then our website is growthdynamicsonline.com. And there's a bunch of resource stuff in there. There are some links to previous Monday Morning Manager posts and the YouTube post on the midweek motivation that Sarah does, my Fast Tip Friday. And then I've gotten really connected to the Hasidic or the Jewish community out in and around New York City. And so I'm also on WhatsApp. And I don't know, those people love to post stuff on WhatsApp. And it's awesome that they've just let me into their community. And they're fun people to work with. It's a different cultural experience for me. And I am so lucky to have had the opportunity to meet these people and learn about an entirely different culture. And it's been so rewarding to have my eyes open to things I never knew about. So we're all over. We're out there doing this stuff. But, it's luckily the younger people that I work with like putting that stuff up there, and I just like do something. So it's good. And you keep us out of trouble, and Gabe makes sure it looks good. So
right on.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, this has been great. Any final words of wisdom or any last words you'd like to say? I'll
go back to the very beginning.
Yeah.
The more you give, the more you get. We don't market. You know that. We do 99.9% of our business on referrals and introductions. And when I first went out on my own, I told people that I was going to do something. I was going to offer basically unlimited one-on-one coaching to my clients that enrolled in our training programs. And all of the older guys said, it's never going to work. You're never going to be able to, you're going to kill yourself. Well, it hasn't killed me. It's grown my business. And because of that, I've never had to market. I will spend time, effort, and energy to help someone succeed. And when I put that energy out into the air by giving without worrying about compensation, the universe takes care of me. And so Growth Dynamics has had 35 years, Growth Dynamics had 23 years of really fun, profitable experiences because we believe in giving and not worrying about getting. And I would advise anybody that owns a business, don't make everything a billable transaction. Trust the good vibes and the karma of the universe. The more you give, the more you get. And I'm living that story right now, and I wish everybody could.
All right. That was awesome. Thank you again.
Thank you so much. Again, it's a pleasure to sit here with you and be part of this. And I'm sure there'll be 100 more that'll make this forgettable.
Nah.
And you'll have a great future doing this and all the other great things that you do for us and our other clients that you know. So I appreciate it. Thank you.
I appreciate it. I'm glad we finally had a chance to, sit down and have a long conversation.
It's been great. Thanks, Matt.
All right. Thank you.